Recently, I was contacted by a vet tech who, after watching my latest video on natural pet health holistic advocate Dr. Jones, decided to reach out to me to let me know that there is someone far worse than him. His name is Jeff Harrogate, and he's the admin of a private Facebook group named Holistic Help for Pets. Infiltrating and documenting the group's activities has been an extremely emotional experience where I've often felt despair, disgust, anger, and just sadness at what can only be described as animal abuse. The thought that there are people out there engaging in animal cruelty, whether intentional or not, was at times overwhelming. And the fact that there are people out there promoting quackery to innocent animals, just honestly, it really, really wound me up. Jeff and others in this group perpetuate misinformation whilst promoting ineffective, unproven, and potentially hazardous treatments causing unnecessary pain and suffering to animals. This promotion and use of quackery on animals is, in my opinion, more repugnant than on people. Because animals cannot speak for themselves and are unable to consent or to understand the treatments being given to them. This makes them more vulnerable to dodgy people like Jeff, who take advantage of their owners' desperation in trying to find a solution for their pets' health problems. Now, regardless of their good intentions, the fact of the matter is that if you employ quackery, you fail in your duty of care as a pet owner, and you are responsible for the suffering you cause in that animal. You are. I don't care how much you love Fluffy and all the rest of it. If you go down this quackery route, you are responsible for their pain and suffering. As a pet owner, it is essential to recognize that the health and well-being of the animal should be a top priority, and seeking out professional vet care is the best way to ensure that. However, before joining Holistic Health for Pets, you must first agree to the rules set out by the admins, which prohibit the promotion of conventional treatments and, rather worryingly, and what should be a red flag to every pet owner out there, is that they ban people who, after what they see is really disturbing, they ban people who even lightly suggest that others should go seek out the advice of a legitimate vet. That's what they do. This is incredibly worrying, and Jeff and his entourage of cronies are really ban happy. They are really draconian with these rules, and if you lightly suggest that, hey, you know, your dog that's missing 3 legs, maybe you should go to a vet, they will ban you. And what they're left with is this synthetic echo chamber where ideology and not the health and well-being of the animal is paramount. And yet, somehow this draconian, ridiculously awful group has somehow managed to amass 40,000 pet owners.
I think it's time to start eliminating the vets and vet techs from this page, unless they can prove they are here to learn that there are real alternatives to pharma, and they're frequently unnecessary, expensive, and sometimes damaging procedures. Most of the negative comments and rude interactions I have witnessed here are started and continued by them. The veterinary industry in NA is pretty much as broken as our medical system is. Edit. Before you vets and techs get all butthurt about this, I do believe that vets are important for certain situations, trauma surgeries, some diseases and conditions, etc.
Jeff also has no issue with portraying vets as crooks in an attempt to further persuade his groupies not to seek their advice.
Isabella Trowell. You have a very bad vet. They'll put that in the x-ray to make it look like there's something there. Isabella Trowell. I would file a complaint with the state board.
As an outsider looking in, it's clear that this Facebook group gives its members a false sense of community and belonging, which leads to confirmation bias. I've seen members of this group being influenced by one another's opinions and beliefs, which further cements their faith in quackery whilst discouraging them from seeking legitimate advice. It is clear that joining this group leads to confusion and distrust of the established vet community. And in my relatively short time in this group, I have seen multiple examples of delayed treatment, dangerous advice that only worsened the animal's condition, and in some cases, a painful and unnecessary death of the animal. Now, it may or may not come as no surprise that no one in this group, including Jeff, has any legitimate training whatsoever, but what might surprise you is the group's promotion and belief in terrain theory.
Not all bacteria in the gut are lactobacillus. Lacto, meaning they have a lactose covering outer shell, and we know from PubMed that silver can decrease insulin dependence in type 2 diabetes, so the silver would bind to the lactose shell of the lactobacillus bacteria, creating a protective covering on the lactobacillus outer shell. I'm not sure it can kill any bacteria, but that's because there are no bad bacterias, and we need all of them to be healthy because we all ferment in our gut in order to stay alive and healthy. We don't believe in germ theory, we believe in the terrain theory. I see how it can kill mold and yeast and some parasites.
Terrain theory is a discredited theory in medicine which suggests that the state of an individual's internal environment, referred to as their terrain, determines their susceptibility to disease. The theory poses that diseases are caused by an imbalance of the body's internal environment, including pH levels, nutrition deficiencies, and toxic overload, whatever that means to this particular flavour of quackery. According to terrain theory, treating the underlying imbalance in the body's terrain is the key to preventing and curing disease. While some imbalances in the body's internal environment can contribute to disease risk, they are not the sole or even the primary cause of most illnesses. Terrain theory also ignores the part viruses and bacteria and what have you cause in disease, and puts an unnecessary emphasis on the individual. It is your fault you're ill, and it is your fault that you're not getting better. Long-time followers remember I covered this quackery way back in the day when I discussed Dr., very much in quotes, Robert Young's book, The pH Miracle. You remember that book that broke me because it was so bad. Needless to say, Jeff should not be giving out medical advice, but unbelievably, this is just the tip of the crazy iceberg. You see, Jeff believes that his treatments are so amazing, so fantastic, so effective that they can regrow organs.
Your vet has no idea how to do that, and would be illogical to say that it can't be done when you don't know how to do it. Lol. What kind of diet are you feeding?
Jeff Harrogate, will this regrow his testicles?
Yes.
In case you're wondering, this isn't just a one-off. Jeff multiple times has told people in this Facebook group that he can help regrow your pet's organs.
Have you started the Epsom salt and baking soda soaks every day?
Jeff Hargett? Yes, we started yesterday. His stool was still loose but firmer and had shape. We'll continue it today and start the cleanse. He had his gallbladder removed in April.
Rita Faz. May need to get ox bile supplement.
Jeff Hargett, I'm new to all this. What exactly is that? Thank you.
Rita Faz. It will help with digestion until the gallbladder grows back. What? Oh, fucking hell. It will help with digestion until the gallbladder... Fuck you. It will help with digestion until the gallbladder grows back.
Jeff Hargett, thank you. I don't know how that was possible, but I'm excited to learn.
At Jeff Hargett. It'll grow back?
Deborah Gippy Calveno. Once you start getting the body healthy, then all your missing organs start growing back, and the ones you have start getting more healthy.
At the risk of sounding like I'm teaching your grandmother to suck eggs, no, your pet cannot regrow any of its organs. Unless it's a starfish or a axolotl or a sea cucumber. But yeah, no. If it's like a cat or a dog or anything normal, then no, it's not going to regrow any organs. But you know what? I'm a scientist and I'm open to things. So Jeff, my dude, if you're watching this, how about this? I have an idea for you, Jeff. Why don't you go for the full Bob Barker and let me know how regrowing your testicles works out for you. I would love to see that. Probably could have phrased that a little bit better. The group also champions more socially acceptable but equally fictitious alternative treatments, including acupuncture. The traditional Chinese medicine practice involves inserting thin needles into specific points in the body to alleviate pain and treat various medical conditions. According to people who promote this, these points are connected by pathways called meridians, through which the life force energy called qi flows. By stimulating these points, acupuncture is believed to balance the flow of qi and promote healing. However, studies have shown that the location of these needles doesn't significantly impact the outcome of acupuncture, suggesting that the specific points on the body are not critical for the treatment to be, well, effective. Additionally, other scientific studies have shown that really acupuncture does nothing, and any benefits that people report are most likely down to the placebo effect, which in itself really probably isn't a thing. So that's where people believe a treatment will work and therefore it kind of works on them, but really that's just noise. So having said all of that, having said that the acupuncture is probably down to a placebo effect, which probably isn't even real anyway, how the fuck is it meant to work on a dog that has no idea what the fuck is happening to it? This is animal abuse. This picture right here that I've had in the back of my video is animal abuse. This is a muzzled dog with needles in it for no reason.
Bi-weekly acupuncture for my pup.
And to make this situation worse, the reason why this dog is having acupuncture is because its owner believes it will help it with its seizures.
May I ask for what benefit? Thank you.
Sarah AR, seizure control.
Chris Macbeth, thank you for sharing. I hope she continues healing.
Sarah AR, thank you.
Using acupuncture to cure a dog of seizures is dangerous because there is no scientific evidence suggesting that it is effective in any way to treat this condition. Seizures are a serious medical condition that requires prompt and appropriate medical attention. Delaying or avoiding proper medical care can result in significant harm to the animal, including brain damage and even death. Relying on unproven treatments such as acupuncture can also lead to missed opportunities for proper diagnosis and treatments, ultimately prolonging the suffering of the animal. Furthermore, acupuncture is an invasive procedure that involves the insertion of needles into specific points on the body, which I said before. This can cause pain and discomfort to the animal, and there is a risk of infection and injury from the needles if they're not inserted correctly. In some cases, acupuncture can even lead to complications such as nerve damage, organs can be punctured, and people can start bleeding. Therefore, using acupuncture to cure a dog of its seizures is not only ineffective, but also poses a significant risk to the animal's health and well-being. Other alternative treatments heavily promoted by Jeff and other members of the group include the use of Epsom salts as, well, some kind of magical panacea. Epsom salts are a type of salt which is primarily made from magnesium sulfate. You know, mag sulfate, that stuff you use in undergrad labs to dry stuff, which never worked, by the way. Anyway, whilst Epsom salts may have some beneficial use, scientific research has shown that bathing in them has no benefit whatsoever medically. It doesn't alleviate symptoms, it doesn't cure you of anything, it doesn't do anything. So any stories that you hear about Epsom salts curing X, Y, and Z, it's just not real, it's anecdotal evidence. And anything that Jeff makes up on the spot is just pure nonsense, because according to him, this stuff is just, it's pixie dust, it's rainbows and unicorns, it's just pure magic.
I would get him into an Epsom salt and baking soda soap immediately. Have you ever done a soak before?
Jeff has so much faith in this magnesium sulfate that in the past, in this group, he has told a pet owner to throw away their pet's medication so they wouldn't be tempted in the future to give them it.
Is he on any medications?
I stopped the meds and was okay. Still having a seizure here and there, but nothing to concern until recently. He had horrible clusters and gave him some Keppra, but made no difference. He did recover only after soaks. I made 2 soaks in 8 hours and I want to carry on today. Getting him on soak after seizure is a real struggle because of his weight, but I managed. Any supplements for quick recovery you can suggest?
I would throw the drugs away so you're not tempted to give them. What kind of diet are you feeding?
The deeper I dived into holistic health for pets, the more distressing it became. So at the top of the page, you have people just asking for advice, but as you go down, you have people who are then giving advice, and there are some horrific stories. You don't have to go down very far to just be utterly shocked at what you see and what you read. For example, I read a story about a woman whose kitten was attacked, she believed, by another animal, and this kitten had lost the use of its back legs. It had a rather severe puncture wound in its belly, and rather than taking this poor animal to go see a vet, she asked for advice on this Facebook page, and the members of this Facebook page said the best treatment for this poor kitten is to put honey on it. And then that was it. As you work your way down the group, people begin to offer well-intentional advice based on their own personal experiences or belief. However, this advice is not rooted in scientific evidence and/or is ill-suited to the individual's needs. And what you start to see is animals suffering in real time the further you go down. Some of the advice given is so out there that it seems more like witchcraft than an actual legitimate alternative treatment. I mean, yeah, I'm actually saying legitimate alternative treatment. That's how nutter butters this is.
I would stop the vet food because it's not real food. I would start the Epsom salt and baking soda soaks every day, rutabaga cleanse, ester C 1000 mg twice a day, BLK drops in the mouth and on the belly, then cover with castor oil, sea moss gel with bladderwrack and burdock root, asparagus puree 4 times a day, beetroot powder, 1/4 teaspoon, twice a day.
You believe a cat is going to tolerate this protocol? Gobshite.
We have thousands that already have.
Following such advice has negative effects for the animal. And you see this as you go down the page. You see animals unnecessarily suffering. You see them deteriorating, and you see them die. And pet owners react in various ways to this. It's clear that a lot of them feel ashamed, and they should feel ashamed for taking advice from a group like this rather than going to seek the advice of a vet. And you can see these conversations just stop. They start by asking for advice, they talk about how they followed the advice, and then they talk about how the animal is getting worse and worse, and then it just stops. It's also clear that there is a fair amount of censorship going on in the group, because there are people out there who are angry that their animal has suffered, that their animal has died, and then suddenly, boom, the conversation is cut, and then you never hear of them again. The only people I've seen who are allowed to talk about their animal dying are people who in the 11th hour went out and took their animal to a vet. And the only reason they're allowed to comment, and the only reason why their comments are still up, is so that Jeff and other people in the group can blame them for their pet's death, because it wasn't the treatment that they were offering that was the cause of their death. No. They died because this person took their animal to go see a vet. It is fucking disgusting. Social media platforms have become a popular source of information and advice, but unfortunately, not all advice is accurate or reliable. Moreover, relying on Facebook groups for pet advice can create confusion and misinformation. With so many different opinions available online, it can be a challenge to determine what advice is accurate and what is not. This can lead to pet owners feeling overwhelmed and unsure about the best course of action, which can further delay necessary medical care. As pet owners, it is our responsibility to ensure that our pets receive the best possible care, and seeking advice from a reliable source, such as a licensed vet, is crucial. While social media can be a great source of information, it is essential to be cautious and critical of the advice provided, and to seek professional help when necessary. Pets are an integral part of our lives, so seeing them suffer was incredibly distressing and heartbreaking. I know I don't come across this way, but I'm very much an animal lover, very much a pet lover. I hate seeing animals like this suffering. It is just really awful. And what makes this situation even worse is that Facebook just do not care. Multiple people, like quite a lot of people, have put complaints into Facebook saying there is animal abuse groups on your platform. Sort it out, get rid of them, and they just do not care. They just do not care that there is animal abuse on their platform. A second group called Jeff Harrogate / Holistic Help for Pets is a fraud, his advice kills, was created. This second group documents the abuse and has submitted a report to the Alabama Veterinary Medical Association in an attempt to get Jeff prosecuted for giving out medical advice when he's not licensed to do so. What's really good is the association seems to be paying attention and is currently requesting more evidence. Here at the end of the video, I would like to play my part. So if you were a group member of Holistic Health for Pets and Jeff gave you advice, I want to hear from you. So please, can you email me? My email address is down below, and I will take what you've said and I'll pass it on to the relevant people, and hopefully we can stop this man because he is a fucking monster.